Let's be real, I'm really just getting rid of books to make room for more books that I'll never read. Hi besties, welcome. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm having a rough week. This week I have been very anxious and very unmotivated, and I have just not felt myself. So I am trying to do things today that will help me feel better, and one thing that always helps me feel better is purging and getting rid of stuff I don't need. Additionally, I have gotten to the point where I just have books piled up all over my room and my house because I don't have room for them on these lovely shelves. Before we get into the purge, the unhaul, not the purge, I'm trying to focus on doing things that make me feel joy. And one thing that makes me feel joy is that this week's video is sponsored by glassesusa.com. Do you like that transition? If you don't already know, what makes glassesusa.com so special is that they cut out the middleman, which means they're able to offer over 9,000 pairs of prescription eyeglasses and sunglasses from in-house brands to designer brands like Gucci and Ray-Ban for up to 70% off the retail price. And that means that you can shop all of your eyewear needs from the comfort of your own home at very affordable prices, starting at just $30 with prescription lenses included. It's a completely risk-free shopping experience. They have free shipping and returns with 100% money-back guarantee. If you're overwhelmed by all of the amazing choices that they offer, they also have a handy quiz that can help you figure out which frame shapes, colors, etc. might be right for your face. I also love their virtual try-on function on their website. I used it with all of the frames I was considering, and it really helped me narrow down which ones were right for me. First off, right now I'm wearing the Toto Bologna frames. They're blue light blocking glasses. I'm obsessed with them, and I feel like they frame my face so perfectly. I also really wanted a pair of sunglasses. These are the Amelia E. Maxine, and they just feel so retro 60s with a modern flair. I'm obsessed with them. I wear them every time I leave the house. And glasses also make incredible gifts, which is why I got this pair for my mom, who gets really bad headaches when looking at screens. They're prescription and blue light blocking, and she says they've changed her life since she's gotten them. They're the Muse 3205 frames, and I just think they're so cute. If you want to look for any of these frames or any other frames from glassesusa.com, you can click the link at the top of the description box and get all of your eyewear needs covered. Let's unhaul some books. I have a pile already of some books that I'm getting rid of that I've just been like slowly putting in a box to get rid of. But then I'm also gonna go through my shelves again because I haven't in a while and see what I can extricate and move on to their next lives. So let's get into it. My foot is asleep and I can't move. 911. 911. Fire department, ambulance. Oh my god, pins and needles, TV static in my foot. First up, I have Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. I tried to read this a really long time ago and it just wasn't for me, which is kind of sad because it is signed. She was very sweet, but this one just didn't do it for me, so I don't need to keep it. Next, I have The Knife of Never Letting Go. I'm already questioning my decisions because I still kind of want to read this, but I also know there's a movie coming out and I think I'd rather just watch the movie. I have Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. I got this book at like a book festival. He signed it and he was so sweet and I was really interested in it at the time. I just don't think I'm ever gonna get to it. It's a book within a book type of situation and that usually just isn't for me. I'm also getting rid of 1984 by George Orwell, which I read last summer, and I just didn't like it. There were parts of it that I found really interesting, but the writing style just wasn't for me and it was such a slog to get through and I'm never gonna read it again. Sorry, George. You're gonna find out exactly who I was in middle school when you see this. I am getting rid of 4 copies of The Fault in Our Stars, and I'm getting rid of all 4 of those because I do have another copy that I'm keeping that is signed, and I decided to keep the signed one and it matches all my other John Greens. This is absurd. I don't know how this happened. I was obsessed. I don't care what anybody says, I still love this book. It means a lot to me. It really fueled my reading fire in middle school, but all that being said, I think other people would love to read it, but right now nobody can because I have every copy that's ever been printed. So I just want to share the wealth. Also John Green, my first copy of Looking for Alaska, again, because I have every book that he's ever written signed and I'm just keeping those. I'm sure this and my hardback copy of The Fault in Our Stars I'm getting rid of are imbued with a lot of tears that I had nowhere else to put in middle school, so I thank them for holding tightly to all of my grief that I could only express through literature. It feels good. It feels good to get rid of shit I know I'm never gonna read. Then I have Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri. This is just because I have a hardback, so I don't need, I think 2 different people bought me this book. However, I only need 1. I'm getting rid of Isla and the Happily Ever After, which I've never read. Again, it is signed. I went to a YA book festival like 2 years in a row in high school, so I have a bunch of signed YA books that I just never ended up getting to or like didn't like, and I've been hanging on to them because they're signed, and I've realized now that that's unnecessary. I loved Anne and the French Kiss. You can yell at me in the comments about how problematic it is if you want. I don't care. It was so fun to read in middle school. Do I want my relationship to be like theirs? No. But did I have a fun time reading it? Absolutely. But this one can go. Next I have one of my favorite books of all time, Pride and Prejudice. I have a much prettier one that I like a lot more. I hate this cover so much. Why is it a word cloud? Get that away from me. Get it away from me. Controversial. Miss Evelyn, may you find a home that loves you as you are. I'm sorry that I wanted you to change for me. I realize now that is not the foundation to a healthy relationship. I just didn't like you, and that's okay. I hope you move on, because I already have. Yeah, I didn't like this. Such a disappointment was The Little Friend by Donna Tartt, because I love Donna Tartt. This was so boring, so slow. I didn't like it. Then I have Return to Sullivan's Island by Dorothea Benton Frank, which I started for my reading books from my home state video, and I got about 30 pages in and was like, I would rather pull every single one of my teeth out one by one with no anesthesia than finish this. Next, I have The Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. I actually really liked this book. It's a very cute YA romance that has time travel element, and I really liked the characters. I really like Justin Reynolds' writing. I'm just not gonna read it again, so I think it should go to somebody who will and will love it. Next, I have The Wilderness World of John Muir. I got this at the beginning of my environmentalist journey. Never read it, but I also didn't realize at the time that John Muir was super colonialist and racist. So I'm replacing it with Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, which is by a woman, and a woman who is part of the Potawatomi Nation. We're just gonna leave the white colonizer environmentalists in the past and move forward with a vision of environmental justice that includes people of color and marginalized communities. Sound like a plan? I'm also getting rid of Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. I watched the show, loved the show, but then I knew the twist and I didn't feel like I needed to read it. Next, Your House is on Fire, Your Children All Gone. This didn't make any sense to me. It was not scary. It was just unsettling. There was no plot. Things did not make sense. I was not a fan. Another really disappointing one is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I love Red, White, and Royal Blue. Big, big fan. And I was super excited for a sapphic romance from Casey McQuiston, but I didn't like the sci-fi time warp element, but I am excited for Casey McQuiston's new book. So I'm not giving up on Casey McQuiston. This book just wasn't for me. This Adventure Ends by Emma Mills. I really liked Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills so much that I still have it on my shelf because I kind of want to reread it. But this one, it's funny because on the back it says, heartfelt, funny, and true. Emma Mills' second novel is unforgettable. But the gag is, I read it in about 3 hours, and by the time I was done, I had forgotten what happened in the first half. I would actually say it's unmemorable. This one was a flop. Another one that I really, really wanted to like was Sleepwalking by Meg Wolitzer, which I read for my Dark Academia video. It wasn't really what it said it was gonna be. When people talk about it on BookTube and then also like on the back, it talks about this group of 3 girls who are the Death Girls, and they're all obsessed with a female dead poet, and it's a very like Dead Poet Society meets The Secret History type of deal, but in reality it's really only about one of the girls, and the other 2 girls play a very small role. That's all I had like already in my stack, so I'm gonna look through my bookshelf and see if I can't find some other things. Found a few more on a second pass. I've got Night Film by Marisha Pessl, which I've had on my shelf for probably 7 or 8 years, and I just need to be honest with myself and know that I'm not gonna get to this one. Then I have The Road by Cormac McCarthy, which I read last year. I thought it was really good. I thought it was very interesting in terms of just narrative style and how differently it was written than like any other book that I had ever read. And I'm glad that I read it, but I don't think I'm ever gonna reread it or go back to it. So same with The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I read this a few years ago and I really liked it at the time, but over time I've just kind of forgotten about it and it didn't stick with me, I guess. I also have The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which I just read for my turn of the century reading vlog, and I thought it was fine, but I'm never gonna reread it. I hate the cover. I love yellow, but I hate this color yellow. For whatever reason, it being on my shelf makes me angry, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Then I have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which it should have been The Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds. That sounds so much better, but also I thought it was pretty bad. I thought it was about 200 pages too long. I kept it on my bookshelf for a while because I liked the way it looked with my Hunger Games collection, but that's stupid because what if the only thing keeping me from buying my next favorite book at the bookstore is the fact that I don't have room for it because this book that I didn't like is taking up that spot on my shelf. I just don't want to run that risk. The Jungle by Upton Sinclair, which I also read for my turn of the century video and I did like a lot. I thought it was a very important socialist text. I just don't think I'm ever gonna reread it. Like, I feel like I had my time with this book. I'm glad that I did. This book, even though I think it's important and I really got a lot out of it, it wasn't my all-time favorite reading experience, and for that reason I don't think I would ever like go back and reread it. And then I have On the Road by Jack Kerouac, which was another tough decision because I read it for my Jess Mariano reading vlog and I really liked it for the first like third of it and I underlined so much and I thought the prose was very pretty. But by the time I finished it, I ended up having beef with Jack Kerouac because it had no point and it was so long. Part of me wants it as like a trophy, but the better part of me is like, no, that's stupid. Now I'm looking in the screen on the camera and Anna Karenina is like staring daggers at me being like, you hated me, why are you keeping me? And I really have been keeping Anna Karenina as proof. I read Anna Karenina. I conquered her. I think she and I have reached the end of our relationship. No. She doesn't deserve it. She doesn't deserve it. Sorry, Tolstoy. Okay, my goal was to get rid of 30 books, so I'm gonna count them and see if I've accomplished that or if I need to find more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Oh wait, I have another one. I have 2 more. Let me find them. I found some more. Something's in my eye. I get a sneeze. I get a sneeze. God, I'm falling apart. Another one. I found another whole stack because now I'm just on a kick. Okay. Where were you when my foot was asleep? Okay, I'm going back and forth on Fear, Trump in the White House by Bob Woodward. Bob Woodward was one of the 2 journalists that broke open Watergate. It's like very acclaimed journalist. I want to get rid of it because I hate having his face on my shelves and I hate him. The presence of this book casts a pall. Part of me also wants to keep it because I was a poli-sci major, like my degree's in political science, and I think that I'd be very intrigued and appalled. I know that it's just gonna make me angry. Then I have The Future by Al Gore on the other end of the political spectrum. It's signed. I didn't know that. This is like one of Al Gore's environmental manifesto books, but it was published in 2013, so most of the science in it and like path forward proposals and stuff will be really outdated because things have gotten so much fucking worse. This was a more hopeful time in terms of climate. Then I have The Love Hypothesis. I didn't like it. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry actually. I lied. I'm not sorry. So that is gonna end up being like 40 books or something. I feel really good about that and I feel better after sitting down and filming and drinking my tea and getting rid of a bunch of shit. I've got a long way to go, but that's okay. Thank you for joining me. All the normal things, like this video if you liked this. Comment down below which of these books you're most thrilled that I'm getting rid of. I think mine is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I'm so glad that's leaving. If you're one of the many people who's watching my videos and forgetting to hit subscribe, do it now. Next week, I'm back to reading like fictional characters. I'll give you one clue. I burn, I pine, I perish. Don't forget to check out glassesusa.com at the link in the description so that we can be twinning to doing our best when our best feels impossible. Cheers. And in case you haven't heard it today, I love you.